Hi and welcome back. This video is about dates and times. Dates and times are sometimes tricky to deal with, so they deserve a special mention. For example, when we are processing historical data or when we are streaming data from social media platforms, we're going to encounter dates and timestamps. So knowing how to deal with these data types is important. In this video, we're going to talk about how to deal with dates and times. We'll introduce the concept of time intervals, and we'll see how to perform operations with dates. There are many ways to represent dates. For this reason, using strings to represent dates is usually problematic. In the first example, the same date is shown using different representations, so the strings cannot match. The datetime package, part of the standard library, offers a datetime object, which is a container of dates and times. In this example, we load the datetime for the 1st of February 2017 at 4:30 p.m. If we want to print out the value of a datetime object in a specific format, we need to use the function strftime, so string format time. The format for the output can be customized following the given format codes. For example, uppercase Y shows the year in 4 digits. Given the huge number of codes, it's advisable to check out the documentation for the function behavior. On the other side, if you want to load a datetime object from a given string, you can use the function strptime, which takes a given string as first argument and the format as second argument. In this example, two strings in different formats are producing essentially the same date. So to recap, we need to use strftime to print out a datetime object into the desired format, and strptime to load a datetime object from a string in a given format. Datetime objects can also hold information about the time zone, but because we didn't specify anything about it, the relevant details are missing for the variable someday. The different components of the datetime object are accessible using attribute names such as year, month and day, hour, minute, second and microsecond, and finally the time zone information. Now let's discuss more on time zones. Naive datetime objects don't consider time zone information, like we just did in the previous example. Aware datetime objects, on the other side, do consider time zone information. So the datetime package provides a time zone info abstract class that we need to extend in order to implement a specific time zone class. In this example, we implement a class for the universal time plus 0, which is equivalent to Greenwich time or London time, and a class for Greenwich time plus 1, which is equivalent to Central Europe. The UTC offset is a time delta object where we specify the distance from UTC, positive if we go east and negative if we go west. The daylight saving time or DST is here 0. Finally, we define the name of the time zone. Because the Central European time is 1 hour ahead of UTC time, the two objects defined in this example are the same. So 4:30 in Central Europe is 3:30 in the UK. When we print out the datetime using the ISO format, the time zone information is also visible. We have mentioned time deltas without a proper introduction. Time deltas are duration of times and are used to define intervals and perform operations over time. For example, given a datetime object, we want to define an object which represents the next day, so the time delta is 1 day. When we print out the two dates, we can observe that we have the expected behavior. This is very useful because we don't have to worry about intervals that go across different months. We can also perform comparisons between dates. This example checks whether someday is more recent than new day, and this is false. Finally, Python also offers a time package with a time object. in order to deal with a time of the day which is not related to any day in particular. If we make an instance of time without arguments, this will take the system time in terms of number of seconds from the Unix epoch, which is set to the 1st of January 1970. A common usage of this type of object is to profile the execution time of code snippets. So in this example we have a for loop that doesn't do anything special, but we can see that it takes a fraction of a second to execute. In this video we have discussed how to deal with dates and times. We have introduced the concept of time intervals and we have performed operations between dates. The next video is about accessing raw data.